Be prepared. The date is May 18th, and something strange has already begun. You can't see it yet, but you can feel it. Like the tension in the air before a storm breaks, or the way animals go silent before an earthquake. The moon this week isn't just changing its shape. It's whispering, twisting things beneath the surface, affecting your mind, your sleep, your choices. Most people think it's just another moon phase, but they have no idea what's truly unfolding. This isn't about horoscopes or vague vibes. This is about energy that pulls at your instincts like a magnet under the skin. When the moon starts losing light, it doesn't go quietly. This time, it drags Saturn and Venus into its orbit, two cosmic forces that don't play games. And when they align like this, things get weird. Relationships start acting strange, doubts creep in, sleep becomes shallow. You start second-guessing everything, even your own gut. That's not a coincidence. They say, when the moon hides its face, truth hides with it. That's this week. What you feel might be more accurate than what you see. The world may look normal, but behind the scenes, something is unraveling, and it's happening fast. If you've noticed your emotions swinging wildly or your thoughts slipping like water through your fingers, you're not alone. You're not broken. You're being tuned in. Imagine a radio catching static just before locking into the right frequency. That's you. That's now, but only if you're paying attention. Think of this week like walking through a foggy forest at night. If you don't stay aware, you'll take the wrong turn and not even know it until you're lost. That's what this moon is doing, shifting paths without warning. So here's your reminder. Stay awake, stay sharp. Trust your inner compass more than the signs around you. If you're still with me, drop the number 77 in the comments. It's the code for I'm listening. Like and subscribe to help spread this message, because someone you know needs to hear this before it's too late. The moon doesn't wait for permission, it moves, and by the time most people notice, it's already done the damage. Now, let's talk about what's really going on this week. Chapter 1. The Quarter of Collapse. The Quarter of Collapse has arrived. And no, it's not just in your head. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're being emptied. As we move toward the last quarter moon on May 20th, don't be fooled by how harmless that name sounds. Last quarter might sound gentle, like a closing chapter or a quiet ending. But this isn't a gentle week. This is the Quarter of Collapse. The moon's light is fading, and with it, something in you is being pulled down. It's not just a phase, it's a reckoning. You might feel it already. One moment you're alert, the next you're staring at a wall, not sure what you were even doing. You reach for motivation, but your hands come back empty. Your to-do list feels like a joke. Even your favorite things might suddenly feel dull. This isn't burnout, it's a spiritual power outage. Imagine you're a lantern that's been burning too long on a low flame. The fuel's gone, but the wick is still lit. That's you right now. And the moon isn't taking your energy to punish you, it's pulling it inward. This part of the cycle is like winter for the soul. You're meant to go quiet. You're meant to shed. Ancient mystics used to call this part of the lunar cycle moon sickness. They believed that when the moon darkened, invisible forces came out, energies that fed on emotional weakness, doubt, and fear. Not in a horror movie kind of way, but in a more subtle, spiritual sense. You might feel things clinging to you, old habits, toxic thoughts, fears you thought you'd buried. They rise during this phase, not to haunt you, but to be seen, to be released. Think of your ego like a costume you've worn for too long. This week, that costume starts falling apart. Pieces of your identity, things you thought were you, start slipping away. And that's terrifying. But here's the secret. You're not losing yourself. You're losing what's false. Sometimes forgetting who you are is the only way to remember what you're becoming. This moon wants to pull you deep, not to drown you, but to show you what's stuck to your soul like old dust. That confusion, that emptiness, that's the clearing process. The energy drain is your system rebooting. You're being given the space to let go. You might wonder, why now? Why this week? Because collapse always comes before rebirth. The caterpillar doesn't just grow wings, it completely dissolves inside the cocoon. Maybe what's falling apart isn't your life. It's the illusion that you ever had to hold it all together. So if you feel lost, disoriented, tired for no reason, good. You're not malfunctioning, you're aligning. Let yourself fall apart on purpose. Trust that what crumbles now is what was never meant to last. And remember, this is not the end of the story. It's the pause before the turning point. Chapter 2. The Dark Moon Phase and the Return of the Unseen. There's a part of the moon cycle that no one warns you about. No silver glow to light your path. No powerful full moon to charge your crystals or intentions. Just silence, shadow, emptiness. This is the dark moon phase, and it's the part most people skip because it doesn't sparkle, it doesn't show, but it's the most powerful phase of all. It begins after the last quarter moon fades, around May 21st this time, and stretches right up to the new moon. Think of it as a spiritual blackout, a quiet hour before the next chapter begins. But don't mistake that stillness for peace. This isn't a calm lake. This is deep water where old things swim. The dark moon isn't about what you can see. It's about what sees you. During this phase, the veil between worlds doesn't just thin, it inverts. That means instead of reaching outward to the spirit world, the unseen world starts reaching into you. Not with fear, but with truth. Unfiltered, uncomfortable, and absolutely necessary. You may start hearing thoughts that don't feel like yours. Guilt that you thought you buried may rise out of nowhere, like a forgotten song echoing in a dream. Memories might replay that haven't crossed your mind in years. You could wake up from dreams that feel more like messages than sleep. Déjà vu hits you like a jolt, so specific, so sharp, you'd swear time folded in on itself. That's not your imagination, that's contact. And no, you're not going crazy, you're tuning in. Imagine your mind as a still pond. During full moons, the surface reflects the stars, but during the dark moon, the pond is still, and things beneath the surface begin to stir. Things you've ignored, buried, or even forgotten begin to rise, not to haunt you, but to talk to you. This is when your subconscious becomes loud. The quiet becomes a megaphone. It's like your soul has been trying to get your attention for weeks, and now that the world has gone dim, it finally has the stage. You might wonder, why now? Why would this happen when I'm already tired, already confused? Because your defenses are down, your ego is quieter. And in that space, the real you can finally whisper through. During the dark moon, what you avoid will chase you. What you listen to will guide you. You may see faces in your dreams, some you know, some you don't, some that feel like they come from another life. That's not haunting, that's remembering. It's your spirit sorting through the archives, deciding what stays and what goes before the next moon cycle begins. Think of this phase like a spiritual night vision test. You're learning to see without the light. You're learning to feel the truth without proof. Let it come. Don't fight it. Don't judge it. Just listen. The dark moon doesn't take. It reveals. And if you're brave enough to face what rises, you'll walk into the next moon cycle lighter, clearer, and more aligned than you've been in months. Chapter 3. The Saturn Conjunction, a cosmic intervention. May 22nd is not just another date on the calendar. It's a turning point, and it comes wrapped in tension. On this day, the moon aligns with Saturn. Now, before you roll your eyes and say, "Oh no, Saturn again," stop. This isn't the villain of your story. It's the voice of truth, the kind that shakes your world just enough to wake you up. You've probably heard Saturn described as the strict teacher of the zodiac, the cold parent, the cosmic judge. But that's only one side of the story. Saturn isn't here to punish you, it's here to intervene, to cut through your fog and hand you the mirror you've been avoiding. Not to shame you, but to show you what's been silently running the show behind your life decisions. When the moon, soft, emotional, intuitive, meets Saturn, stern, realistic, immovable, it creates a moment of emotional reality. It's like the dreamer inside you is suddenly face to face with the landlord of truth and rent's due. But instead of fear, what if you saw this as freedom? Ask yourself, how many times have you said, "I'm just not ready yet"? How often do you blame your lack of energy, the timing, the chaos around you? We all do it. But what if the real thing holding you back isn't the world? It's the belief you refuse to release. This Moon-Saturn conjunction is like the universe staging an intervention. Picture your higher self sitting you down and saying, "Enough. You know what's in your way. Now let's stop pretending you don't." You might feel like things are getting tight this week. Emotions get serious. Old wounds feel raw. Doubts you thought were resolved creep back in. That's not regression. It's exposure. Saturn isn't the wall. It's the echo of your own fears, finally loud enough that you can't ignore them. It's easy to point outward. "I can't do this because of them. I don't have the support." It's just bad timing. But Saturn strips away the noise and asks, what if the only block left is the one you're protecting? Imagine you're standing in a room full of mirrors. Each one shows a version of you, the achiever, the procrastinator, the wounded child, the dreamer. Saturn walks in and breaks every mirror but one, the one that shows who you are without the masks. It's uncomfortable, it's raw, but it's also real. And real is where change begins. This isn't about failure, it's about alignment. Saturn doesn't demand perfection, it demands responsibility. It asks you to own your path, to build your future not on wishes, but on truth. So if this week feels like pressure, if you're suddenly face to face with the parts of yourself you've been dodging, don't run. Lean in. Listen. Let the discomfort sharpen your clarity. Because Saturn isn't here to break you, it's here to build you, brick by brick, step by step, and this moon is the blueprint being placed in your hands. Chapter 5. Mental Fog and Spiritual Formatting. Let's talk about what almost no one is saying out loud, because it sounds too weird, too invisible, too hard to prove. But if you've been feeling foggy, mentally scattered, or like your brain is stuck buffering, you're not crazy. And no, you're not just tired or distracted. What you're experiencing might be something deeper, spiritual formatting, and it's coming directly from the moon. Right now, between the last quarter and the new moon, we're in a strange, energetic zone. The moon's light is almost gone, and its frequency, the subtle rhythm it sends through your emotional and mental body, begins to change. You might not see this shift, but you feel it, like background static that won't go away, or like someone's turning the dial on your mind, pulling you away from your usual thoughts. You're not losing focus, you're losing old data. Think of your mind as a computer that's been running too many tabs for too long. Some of those tabs have been open for years. Old regrets, past heartbreaks, outdated beliefs, conversations you still replay in your head. They've been slowing you down without you even noticing. Now, during this dark phase of the moon, the system starts clearing them out. Not randomly, strategically. Only the parts of your story that are no longer serving who you're becoming are being cleared. Have you caught yourself forgetting someone's name, zoning out during a task? Mid-sentence, you lose your train of thought completely? That's not a glitch. That's the universe clearing the cache. You don't need that file anymore, so it's getting deleted. People often ask, but if something's being cleared, shouldn't I feel lighter? Not always right away, because first you have to let go of what you've been clinging to. Even if it's painful, familiar pain is still familiar. There's comfort in the predictable, even when it drains you. So the moon helps you detach in the only way it can, by slowly fading it from your field of awareness. This week, the mental fog isn't the problem, it's the medicine. The more you try to force clarity, the more resistance you'll feel. But if you sit with it, if you listen quietly, you'll begin to notice something beautiful. The fog isn't covering something up, it's making space. It's like mist rising from a forest right before the light breaks through. Ask yourself, what have I been obsessing over that no longer matters? What thought keeps looping that no longer defines me? You'll notice those thoughts feel weaker this week. They don't hold the same charge. That's not failure. That's freedom in disguise. And here's the most important part. Notice what you're forgetting. Not everything that fades is meant to be remembered. Sometimes the soul has its own delete key, and it uses the moon as its messenger. So if you feel a little spaced out, emotionally numb, or even weirdly peaceful while everything around you feels chaotic, that's the formatting doing its job. Don't fight the fog, let it clear the clutter, because what's being removed now is not who you are, it's who you no longer need to be. Chapter 6. Venus and the Mirror of Desire. May 23rd brings with it a rare emotional tremor in the air. The moon, already deep in its shadow phase, begins to drift closer to Venus, the planet of love, beauty, desire, and self-worth. And when these two celestial forces meet, they don't just spark romance or warmth, they spark truth. And not the easy kind. This isn't your typical Venus makes everything pretty energy. This alignment is more like a mirror, one you didn't ask for but can't look away from. You might wake up that day feeling a strange kind of ache. Not physical pain, but a yearning, a sudden, quiet craving to be seen, to be wanted, to be chosen. You might not even know what you want, you just know you want. That's the first ripple of the Moon-Venus effect. You may find yourself scrolling through old messages. Maybe you'll feel the urge to post something online just to see who reacts. Or suddenly wonder about someone from your past, someone you swore you were over. You might dress a little differently that day, talk a little softer, crave compliments a little more than usual. That's not vanity. That's a subtle emotional alarm going off inside you, whispering, "Do I matter? Am I enough?" Venus doesn't bring desire. It brings the mirror of why you desire. This alignment doesn't expose the beauty around you. It exposes the gaps within you, the places where self-worth still feels conditional, where love still feels like a prize to earn instead of a birthright to receive. That's not to shame you, it's to wake you up. Because under this moon, the difference between wanting connection and needing validation becomes crystal clear. You might wonder, why am I suddenly emotional over someone I haven't thought about in months? Or, why do I feel like crying over something so small? It's not random. Venus is gently tapping your emotional pressure points, revealing your soft spots, not to hurt you, but to help you hold them without needing someone else to. This is where the real magic lies. Can you carry your own emotional weight, or are you still quietly hoping someone else will show up and do it for you? This moment in the lunar cycle will tempt you to reach outward, toward a person, a distraction, a digital hit of affirmation. But every time you do, Venus asks you a silent question. Is this real connection or just escape? Desire without self-worth is like chasing water in a desert. It looks like salvation, but ends in heartbreak. And this week, that illusion might feel so real it hurts. But that's not punishment. That's the test, a cosmic checkpoint. This isn't about resisting love. It's about redefining it. It's a chance to prove to yourself that you no longer beg for breadcrumbs of affection because you finally remember you are the full meal. So if you feel the emotional waves rising on May 23rd, don't panic. Don't chase. Reflect. You're not broken. You're remembering. And sometimes the deepest form of love is learning to crave yourself first. Chapter 7. The Sacred Pause. The Gap of Power. There's something strange about May 23rd, a silence that doesn't make sense. You might wake up feeling like the day hasn't fully arrived, like time is suspended, or like you're watching yourself move through your own life. It's not depression, it's not distraction, it's the sacred pause, the breath before rebirth. As the moon continues its descent into full shadow, preparing for the new moon on the 27th, we enter what ancient mystics called the gap of power. This is the space between what was and what's coming. It's not meant to feel comfortable, it's meant to feel empty, so something new can enter. We're conditioned to fix confusion, to chase clarity, to keep moving. But in this phase of the lunar cycle, movement isn't progress, it's resistance. The truth is, confusion isn't a flaw, it's a doorway. You may feel unmotivated, spaced out, unsure of what you're doing or why. That's not failure. That's alignment preparing to happen. Imagine standing on a train platform at night. You can't see the train yet, but you can feel the wind of it coming. That's what this moment is. Let the silence do what it's here to do. Let it clean out the noise, dissolve old attachments, and reset your senses. Don't rush to find answers. This isn't a puzzle to solve. It's a mystery to feel. So pause, float, listen. Let the quiet sharpen your inner voice. Because right now, stillness isn't empty. It's pregnant with potential, and the less you push, the more you'll receive. Chapter 8. Release, Breakage, and the Waning Message. Let's talk about the small, strange signs, the little moments that feel like accidents but aren't. A glass slips from your hand and shatters. A necklace you've worn for years suddenly snaps. A light bulb burns out the moment you enter the room. These aren't coincidences, they're releases. Between May 22nd and 24th, as the moon thins into its final crescent, a subtle clearing begins. It doesn't scream, it whispers. This is the moon's quiet cleanse, where energy is cut loose without ceremony, but with deep purpose. And often, that looks like things breaking. Every object you touch carries memory, history, energy. And sometimes, when your frequency shifts, those things can't hold on to you anymore. So they fall apart, not to punish, but to free. When something breaks this week, don't just sigh and move on. Pause. Ask yourself, what was this connected to? What part of me lived inside this thing? Maybe it was a belief, a relationship, a version of you you've already outgrown. This week brings endings wrapped in ordinary moments. A button pops off, a phone dies unexpectedly, a photo goes missing. Don't rush to fix it. Instead say, "Thank you, I'm ready to release." And as we approach the new moon, the waning crescent hums one final message. Let go of one thing, just one. A heavy thought, a quiet resentment, a habit you're tired of carrying. Because transformation doesn't start with more, it begins with less, with subtraction, with surrender. And in this exact cosmic window, releasing even one small weight could create space for something miraculous. So, listen closely. The signs are subtle. The messages are quiet. But the power behind them, life-changing. So as we close out this powerful lunar window, remember, what feels like endings are actually clearings. The moon isn't just shifting in the sky, it's shifting something in you. These next few days are not about doing more, but about releasing what no longer fits. If this message resonated, like the video, subscribe for more weekly guidance, and comment the number 77 to show you're aligned and listening. It helps spread the message to those who need it most. Trust the quiet, honor the signs, and let the moon lead you back to your truest self.